Here she does say, though, that if the cameras weren't rolling, she would suck his. Hi, my name is Lacey, and welcome to my recap of episode 3 of Temptation Island 2023, or season 5 if you prefer. If you haven't already, go ahead and catch up on my episodes 1 and 2 recaps, and then come right back here for episode 3. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe if you like my content, and leave a comment down below because I want to hear your thoughts on the Temptation Island. So everybody is coming home from their dates, and at the guy's house, Tia, who is 26, she likes Rob and Great, and to make herself kind of known to the guys, she makes baked goods. It looked like delicious brownies for the guys when they got home from their dates. So she definitely made a good impression with those tasty treats. Great is talking to Tammy, and he's telling her that he likes both her and Nafisa, who he took on a date last episode. And she's kind of like, hey, I need you to decide. And he's like, this is like, what is episode 3? So what is this, day 2 maybe? And he just met these people. And on top of that, he has a girlfriend already in Paris. So it's like the single islanders who are making the exes make decisions. It's like, excuse me, you have no leg to stand on, okay? These people are already kind of spoken for in a way. So just kind of like understand that this is gonna take some more time and a little bit more progress and connection for somebody to make a decision that quickly. Rushing it. However, Great does say, how would you feel if I asked you out on the next date? And Tammy seemed happy about that. So I guess complicated. Chris is talking to Rob about Vanessa and kind of about Rob's outburst, the previous party, and he's like, so if you had to leave today or tomorrow, would you leave with Vanessa? And Roberto says he doesn't know, that he actually probably would not leave with Vanessa as it stands right now. That was quick. I don't blame him though, because Vanessa is awful. Vanessa on the show is awful, and I do not blame him, and I want him to run very, very fast away from her. The drama with Great continues when Nafisa pulls him aside and says, hey, why did you ask me to come up to your room to cuddle after their first date? And then he proceeds to flirt with Tammy the rest of the night. So Nafisa is very mad at Great for trying to make things progress with two people at the same time while being attached to Paris. So Nafisa's like, nope, you can do what you want, but I'm only interested in you, and I'm not gonna cuddle with you today because you are now flirting with Tammy. So you need to, like, it's one or the other right now. At the ladies' house after the dates, Paris said that she has more fun with Christian than she ever did with Great. But then she decides to ask Tajik on a date, and it was really kind of silly because Paris was too shy and kind of about asking Tajik on a date. So Caitlin was like, Paris, come, just ask him out, just ask him on a date. And she had to like drag her there. So she did, and Tajik said, yes, I will go on a date with you. And Maricela asked Sebastian on a date. At the guy's house, Great and Rob go on dates with people, and I honestly don't remember much about the guys' dates because they were off-roading, and so everybody had helmets on and they were just kind of having fun, so I didn't really pay much attention. However, Hall and Michaela are still hitting it off and talking about family. And Hall says that family is very important to him, that he very, very, very strongly feels that he wants kids, and he's upset that Caitlin does not get that same excitement and vigor toward having a family. And meanwhile, Michaela is saying how much she really wants a family very, very soon. And so Hall really connects with that, and he latches on to that, and he's like, oh my God, this is everything I've ever wanted. And so his head's a little scrambled now. It was before, but it's even more scrambled, I guess, than it was. The ladies go on a bike riding date, and we learn that Paris does not know how to ride a bike. And so she asks Tajik to help her, and he does for a little bit, and she tries, and and then she decides to sit out for the rest of the date. So he has to go on this long bike ride with all the other couples, and he's kind of by himself. and that must have been fun. However, they do meet up after the bike ride for their little picnic date so they could actually talk and have a communication. On their date, in their picnic, Tajik is saying how he wants to have fun, how he does want to take her from Great, but he's not going to force her to come with him, so he's trying to kind of play it cool. However, Paris doesn't really like that about him. She says that he is a little bit too jokey for her, and she wants him to take things a little bit more seriously, and she wants a serious relationship, so his having fun kind of thing turns her off or gives her a little bit red flags. She also says that Christian was a little bit more romantic on their date, so she's not super thrilled with Tajik right now. Vanessa took Griffin on a date. However, I guess he likes Caitlin more than he likes Vanessa, and this is according to Vanessa, so I don't know who this Griffin person is, so I have no idea. Caitlin and Christian are hitting it off, and she is trying not to think of what Hall is doing over in the other house. Don't think about Hall. It's not anywhere good. At night, after their dates, the girls are chatting, and Paris is saying how she's very attracted to Tajik, but she's not really feeling the connection. Here she does say, though, that if the cameras weren't rolling, she would suck his... So I guess she's into him, at least physically. Vanessa says she wants to ask Tajik on a date, but she also doesn't want any of the other girls to talk to Bryce. So it's like this weird, hey, how come you can ask our guys on a date, but we can't ask yours? Come on, Vanessa. The girls have a party, and Vanessa's talking to Bryce, and she says that she wants him to put in more effort. For her, that seems to mean she wants him to be more jealous of the other guys when she talks to them. And he's just like, why? I can't be jealous. You're here to meet everybody. You already have a boyfriend. So she's upset that he's playing it too cool for her. And she's like, I want you to be mine. So she's very and I guess this can be seen in her dominating relationship with Rob. She just wants to control somebody, and she wants to lock in on Bryce. I'm worried for him. At the guys' villa, they're having a burlesque party, whatever that means. It's just lingerie. It's just like any other night, and everybody's twerking and boobs and butts are out. It's Temptation Island, come on. Tia is upset with Roberto and Desiree because Roberto and Desiree are hitting it off, but Tia likes Roberto, and Desiree told Tia she didn't like Roberto, but now they're hitting it off, and Tia's like, wait, I thought you said you didn't like him. I like him. So Desiree's talking to Roberto and saying hey, this is kind of weird. I do like you, but I know Tia and likes you too. And he's like, okay, well, let's bring her over. So Roberto and Desiree, mainly Roberto, is like, hey, Tia, come on over, join the conversation. And Tia's like, oh, what? This is awkward. And he's like, okay, so she likes me. She said she didn't, but we're just friends. So Roberto friend zones Tia in front of Desiree, in this very awkward situation. And he's like, how do you feel about that? And Tia's like, I would prefer this to be a one-on-one conversation. So could Desiree maybe leave? Why is she here kind of thing? So Desiree leaves, thankfully, and Tia and Roberto talk, and Tia's like, give me a chance. And he's like, no, we're just friends. That ship has sailed. It was a little pick-me on her part, and it was a little harsh on his part, but at least he made it clear, and there's no ambiguity on the matter. The next day, Hall is talking to the guys, and he's saying how conflicted he feels about Caitlin and Michaela because of the family situation, and they're just kind of helping him talk through it. And he's saying how he found so much more inspiration and energy on the family subject with Michaela than with Caitlin. He does also, in this conversation, call Caitlin the love of his life. And Chris mentions that he's feeling Abby a little bit. No, a lot of it, especially after the burlesque party and they were dancing. Sexy dancing. Mark comes in to tell the girls that the first bonfire of the season, sans their exes, is this evening. All right, and we're at the first bonfire, and we're gonna start with the ladies. Caitlin. They play Caitlin the clip of Hall talking to Michaela about family, and then the clip of him talking to the guys about the comparison of the two women about family. And this is not really new to Caitlin. They have talked about this. They kind of are aware with how everybody feels about family. She says that she wants to wait 3 to 4 years to have kids because she's very much into her career and focusing on herself. And she says that Hall isn't really down with her being into her career. You're on thin ice, Hall. You're on thin ice already. They're just probably not good together. Caitlyn needs Hall settle down, make babies, fine, and Caitlyn go be a strong career woman and have all the guys you want. That's my 2 cents. We're on Paris, and they show Paris the clip of Great getting a lap dance and saying that he wants to not focus on Paris and tune Paris out. Unfortunately, it was hard for me to follow this conversation between Paris and Mark about the situation. It seemed like Paris was blaming herself for being too much for Great, like requiring too much of him, expecting too much of him. And this stems from her relationship with her father and trying to always please him. And Mark kind of makes it about Paris forgiving her father for doing the best he could and then easing up on herself and easing up on Great. That's what I got from it. I could be completely misreading things because it was a little confusing to follow. Vanessa gets the clip of Rob freaking out at the pool party last episode and saying how much Vanessa embarrasses him, how he's constantly apologizing for her and feeling like bad about her actions. And they also show her the clip of him speaking with Chris about him not knowing or not thinking that they're going to leave here together. And Vanessa gets pissed because obviously it's Vanessa. And she threatens violence. She says, "Oh, I'm going to go over there and with a shoe. I'm going to get him. Why would he come on the show if he doesn't think we're going to be together?" She feels disrespected. And Mark says, "Okay, well, when was the last time you felt vulnerable and safe? Why, and not being the controlling, like, aggressor in the situation?" And she kind of gets choked up a little bit. And she says, "I'm not going to do this with you, Mark. I'm not going to do this with you." And you could tell he's getting to her a little bit. And in like, when did you last feel safe? How can you recreate those relationships, those good relationships, hopefully, and feel safe and vulnerable in your relationship with your partner? Then Mark says he isn't scared of Vanessa, and she laughs, and that breaks the tension a little bit, and that was kind of fun. Lastly, we get Maricela. They show Maricela the clip of Chris and Abby really, really, really sexy dancing. And then him talking about how Abby ticks all these boxes, more so than Maricela. Maricela seems to be suffering from just not feeling comfortable with herself and not confident for whatever reason. And it seems like Chris is doing a little bit of this, is kind of encouraging this behavior because he's so controlling and codependent. She says that if he finds somebody better for him, then go ahead. And I think Mark takes this in a little, veers off a little for me. I don't think so Mark harps on the word better, and he says something to the effect of like, "Oh, why do you think you're not good enough?" And I don't think she meant it that way, but I do appreciate where he was going with it, with the confidence and like kind of, you need to build yourself up and you need to love yourself. But I think she meant like more suited for him, not better. But I appreciate the hopefully switcheroo in the mind about not being good enough for somebody. And Maricela says she hears what Mark is saying and that she just wants to be loved for who she is. And she's worried that she's not going to be enough. On to the men's bonfire. We start with Chris. He gets the clip of Maricela crying after he outed her to the girls he was flirting with and to everybody on TV. And Mark asks Chris how he feels. I don't like this part. I don't like this part, and I don't appreciate how patronizing and pretentious Chris gets here. He essentially turns his therapist cap on and dissects Maricela and how she feels. And it's not like, hey, it's like, hold on a second. This is not about her. I mean, it is about her because you're in a relationship with her, but this isn't about her. This is about what you did. Okay. This is about how you outed her. You spoke for her when she was not ready for that. You made that decision for her. And that was her crying was the consequence or the result of that action. So he needs to take accountability and look inside, as opposed to turning it on Maricela, that Maricela doesn't have confidence, that Maricela doesn't do this, that he's not taking any responsibility for himself here. And that doesn't sit right with me. The episode ends with Great seeing his clip of Paris. They show Great the clip of Paris saying that she's willing to risk it all for Tajik because she's so into him. And then they show the clip of her saying if the cameras weren't rolling, she would suck his. And that's where the episode ends, on the cliffhanger of all the guys going, oh my God, at Paris's clip for Great. So we shall see how Great takes it. My guess is not well. Next episode. And that ends my recap of episode 3 of Temptation Island. What did you think of this episode? What did you think of the dates? What do you think of the couples? I want to know what you're thinking, so let me know down below. Also, if you are into Love Island, LGBTQ plus dating show Love Always, or The Big D, check out my recaps for those at my channel. Thank you for watching. I will see you next time.